A dream starts as a spark of hope. And to you, it's special, to the individual. When you start to share that with people, a lot of times you don't get the reaction you would have hoped. For a lot of people, it's a reaction they weren't looking for, and it crushes their dream. We've become so complacent as a society. People have forgotten that the American dream is still a thing. It's almost like a catchword and a buzzword. People don't quiet themselves and think and reflect to figure out what it is they really want in life and understand and respect that we live in a country that allows you the opportunity to change your station in life. If you have conviction, if you take a risk. Dreams are imperfect. They need to be organized. They need to be set in motion. And sometimes it's not linear. Sometimes the burden of bearing a dream unrealized is greater than the burden of trying it.
I think jiu-jitsu is a way of life. People change. I've seen people change. I've seen people that I had no confidence in their selves. They change. You see, they walk in different. You see kids starting jiu-jitsu, walking the school with their head down, hands down, not making eye contact with anyone. 6 months later, they are up, looking up, tall and proud of themselves, high-five everyone as soon as they walk through the door. I think this sport can do so much for anyone. No, it's not only a sport, no, it's way more than that. There's something in there, and I'm still trying to find out what it is because it drives me crazy. What happened to me is when I was around 10 years old, I was robbed in the street by a pocket knife. I had a chain and I was robbed by a kid probably smaller than me. I started having a little anxieties, like I didn't want to leave my house. And when I say I didn't want to leave my house, I didn't want to leave my house walking by myself on the street. Then my parents started to get very concerned about me, and they started bringing me to some psychologists, some psychiatrists in Brazil. And until they found this guy, and they brought me there, after an hour, he calls my parents back in a room. And he goes to my parents, he's like, I want you guys to try something. I want you to bring him to a jiu-jitsu school, to try a jiu-jitsu martial art. Then my father, my parents, my mother, no, he's already tried that. And he said, no. This is different. So grabbing me everywhere, start pass. You can put the weight, Go, put the weight, go. Now, look at here. You are doing, instead of doing this move, hold tight. Instead of doing this move here, look my back. You are doing this, look.
Using my...
One, and then back. See how you helped me?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Do the pop.
The way you did it?
Yeah, pop. See the difference? So first time I met Pete, that's when he came to videotape the BJJ Weekly with me. I'm sitting down, so the first guy, the camera, the guys that were helping him, friends with him, the first guy walk in, I'm like, oh.
No.
The second guy walk in, And then that freaking third guy walks in that I look like a silverback, walking like 6'7", 350 pounds, walk through the door. In my mind, I'm like, please God, that one cannot be Pete. Nice to meet you, Pete Roberts.
My dad was a clam digger, so the town of Gloucester is a fishing village. We lived in the North Shore of Massachusetts up until I was 8 years old. And it was a blue-collar town. I was always kind of an art kid. I'd figure out how to schedule my classes so I could spend all my time in the art room. My mom was always like, you gotta be creative, go outside, you know, do something, build something, make something. So that really fit with me and my personality was getting out there and being creative. So my mind was always working. I was never idle, and my hands were never idle either. It was a little bit of an entrepreneurial seizure when I started because, again, no business plan, young kid, training jiu-jitsu, something that was instrumental in defining who I was as an individual. I decided, after looking at the jiu-jitsu market, nobody's done anything with this gi, with this uniform, in 100 years. Being a kid who, you know, built things with his hands, I was like, I can do a better job. I didn't have any capital to fund it, and so I took the money from the pre-order and I looked around for manufacturers in America. I couldn't find any. I had sold 200 gis that didn't exist, and the first year of business was bringing product in from Pakistan. As I was competing in jiu-jitsu, I won some tournaments and ended up winning a trials to go to Abu Dhabi to compete. Just before my match, somebody walked by and I looked and they were wearing Origin gi, and there was a different logo on the back. I remember just thinking, holy, our manufacturer ripped us off. I got on a plane and I decided I'm done competing. I need to find a way to make this stuff in America. I gotta find a way to do this. And I remember just that long flight home from Abu Dhabi, trying to figure out what the angle was and how this could be done, but knowing that the last thing I was gonna do is send another dollar to Pakistan.
So tell me.
I'm glad I'm not down here asking you for money.
I don't.
Hit the deck. How many gis did you sell this week?
I don't have that cash anymore with me. Used to park right here, double park, to make sure nobody lock us in.
This is like blue-collar America, man. It's diners are where people met to talk about life and business and dreams. And for me, Becky's Diner is just an iconic location in Portland, Maine, and it was just a good, neutral, central meeting point because he has to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just meeting right here. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Hi, good morning.
I haven't eaten here since last time I was here.
Me too, since 2014. Let me guess.
Let me guess.
Let me guess.
Lobster omelet and an orange juice?
That's it, that's it.
I'm gonna do a lobster omelet, I know that.
Yeah, me
With
too. Me too.
sharp cheddar? I just remember the late nights, kind of in the basement, thinking about how the hell we're gonna get to the next day. Mm-hmm. And then feeling a sigh of relief coming here and you giving me money to deposit to make payroll or buy an embroidery machine or whatever else it was. I got comfortable being really uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know, having to figure it out what to do, having to figure it out where to go, having to figure out how to get there, the right people to be involved. Man, it took us a week, 2 weeks to make one gi, to learn how to make one gi.
And I was thinking on the way down here, there's layers. Mm-hmm. And being at this diner was like layer one, level one. Mm-hmm. You know, and you don't know what's behind this door or this opportunity. And then as we grew, you go down a deeper layer. 10 years ago when we were here, there was just so much friction in every movement, anything we wanted to do. Whereas now there's less hurdles, but there's more touch points. And the speed of it compounds day after day. So I know that's not going to stop.
No.
I know it's not going to stop.
Oh.
And this is our jiu-jitsu gi factory. So we're the only jiu-jitsu gi manufacturer in America. Outside of us, there's manufacturers in Pakistan and manufacturers in China, but this is Americans hard at work right here. What's happening? He has to build 25 sections. It's like 3,500 individual yarns. And it's very detail oriented because you don't want any of the yarns to twist. Because it has to go from this big warper, like a big bobbin, onto this right here. And then this goes onto the loom. And then we weave the fabric of America.
I get a scent of that. This is really old school stuff right here. You can buy a 3-jaw chuck that you just put it in, tighten, and it'll be zeroed. But I've got one, but it's not as accurate as this will be a 4-jaw. See, I'm within 4 thousandths of being, 5 thousandths of being on now. Everybody today runs CNC, which is automatic, computer generated. This is old school. You have to do it all yourself, which is good because I don't know anything about a computer. Pretty rewarded to take a piece of raw steel and make it the way you want it. When it all started, I thought he was completely out of his mind. It's amazing how much it accomplished. Who thought you could be in the woods of Maine and make gis to start with? And then he starts talking about boots. Are you kidding me? I said, he's nuts. Can't happen. And then he's building jeans. Yeah.
It's easy to sit back and try to chip away at people who are actually doing something. And the mistake people who are doing something make sometimes is they pay attention to that. Like, one thing I love about Pete is I feel like he understands his purpose and his direction, and he is moving in that direction, absent what other people are saying, which is exactly the pace that and direction and strategy that he should be taking, in my mind. So yeah, I think Origin fits perfectly inside of that. They're taking action and participating as opposed to sitting on the sideline and commenting.
Once we figured out how to build the most durable products in the world, we simply took that knowledge and we applied it to denim. And we took that knowledge and we applied it to footwear. And we took that knowledge and we applied it to hunting garments. We're not a fashion brand. We're utilitarian first. We're built to work, made for life. We hope you wear it out. We promise it'll never fail you. Part of what America is missing, but people are coming back to, is they're coming back to the land. But the American hunter only having the option of purchasing product made in China and Bangladesh, Pakistan and Mexico, and there being no source for true American-made products and innovations is a problem. That's a problem. You have one of the most patriotic industries with no option that fits the things they believe. Supplying them with the gear that's durable and that's going to allow them to get the job done was essential. So after jiu-jitsu gis and becoming the best in denim and boots, it was we've got to build the hunt product.
Morning. I saw your little flub this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Tried to warn, but you know, I should have communicated it sooner.
Excuse me, sir.
yes, sir. We're gonna peek at our finance. No. That's all you get to see. We keep finance barricaded. You can hear that. That's the sound of America right there. What up? Morning.
I look at factory work as a trade, not as a job. I look at it as a career. And we've tried to create opportunity for our team members here. One in particular, this kid, Cameron. He's probably the only kid in New England that has the knowledge he has. He's a vessel of knowledge because the old-timer Lenny, who taught him over a number of years, passed away a couple years ago, and he passed it all on to Cam. And when you think about a 20-plus-year-old kid with that knowledge, and he's like the last one in New England, no one else can do what he does.
Right here we have 3,600 yarns going across. We run it at a 24 pick density. It's a pretty cool dang weave. This is the original that I learned. This is the original one that Lenny showed me how to make. I got the concept of how to weave based on this pattern itself. It's pretty awesome to be able to pass down this information. I mean, I went to school for computer science. I never expected to be in this kind of manufacturing position, but being able to pick up a dying wealth of knowledge and kind of just add my own, input to that and then pass it on to others, it's been pretty awesome. To me, I think the American dream just means to be able to develop what we've started. Starting from the ground up, continuing to innovate, capturing not only markets, but the mindset of America. We just want to keep building it up in a way that is productive and allowing people to have jobs. And it's crazy to be able to think about how much we're impacting not only companies, but also individual families. That's really what we're trying to do as well, is we want to help people grow in their personal life.
Proud of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely proud of that.
So this is our factory store. It's our little piece of heaven, sandbox up here in Farmington, Maine. And it's where we're learning how to merchandise our product lines. The textile started out as a fighter pilot glove, and we kind of re-engineered it for the hunt industry. It's truly best in class. I look at all the product and I think about the people and the working hands that built it. And I know this product has soul, not because it was built in America, but because it was built by people who believe in their American dream. And at origin, this is our American dream.
Anybody can be unstoppable. The only person stopping you is yourself, nobody else. Listen to you, listen to yourself. That's what I believe in. Peach is on a mission. Peach is on a mission. He wants to prove, and he's already done, but he wants to prove everyone that you can manufacture in America, and Peach wants to leave a legacy. It's a legacy, and he wants to leave something for way longer than us, way longer than our kids, maybe way longer than our grandkids. He's on a mission.
Music is the most important thing in the world. Music is the way that people connect, and you don't see that with other instruments. You don't see that type of historical parallel with that type of music. I think the guitar traveled with people through American history, and that's a real special part to be a part of. So when you pick up a really great guitar, you just pick it up and start playing. You get lost in the moment. You play a note, you play a chord, and it makes you feel something. And I feel that excitement build when I play a chord and I hear something I haven't heard before, and now I'm lost in that moment, and I'm playing, the guitar's giving me something back. That ball is rolling down the hill, and it's this really special moment where what's happening right then is only happening. And I have a philosophy called be here now. It's this moment that we're in, you know. This moment can't be anything else than it is. And when you're with a really special instrument, you know, that might be the moment that song comes out. And if you had picked up your guitar later, it wouldn't have happened. And had you picked up a different instrument, it wouldn't have happened. Be here now with that instrument, and I think a really great guitar allows you to do that. So what is a resonator guitar anyways? A resonator guitar is a type of guitar that two brothers came up with in the 1920s. So that was the brass band era, and we didn't have amplifiers yet. So these two brothers, the Dopir brothers, came up with this idea to make resonator guitars. And what a resonator is inside of a resonator guitar is the resonator cone, and it kind of looks like a speaker cone, and it's made out of very thin aluminum. And because it's thin and it's metal, it transmits the energy from the strings into the guitar really efficiently. That makes it really loud. They also made it out of metal because they could make big tools that made metal guitars very quickly. That made them even louder. So they came up with these cones, they came up with this metal body, and they made a very, very loud guitar. Well, a few years later, guitar amplifiers came out. So all the jazz musicians who had bought these resonator guitars sold them so that they could buy guitar amps. The people who ended up with resonator guitars were blues musicians. They would use them to play on the street and in clubs that didn't have amplification yet because they were loud. And so for 100 years, they were really identified as like a blues guitar instrument. That's a really exciting thing as a builder, to see people take it and run with it. I think it would be hard to overestimate the influence of guitar on American culture. You know, as people travel, You grab your guitar and you go. Maybe you're working on a railroad, and you're traveling as you go. You're picking up this regional music because you have this instrument with you at hand, and I can learn from a guy who I'm working with or a guy that I meet. As our, country was forming, as these rural communities were connecting in this way, music is the way that people connect. You don't see that with other instruments. You don't see that type of historical parallel with that type of music. I think the guitar traveled with people through American history, and that's a real special part to be a part of. So I grew up in Elma, Michigan, which is about an hour west of here. It's a small kind of farm town. My dad's a pastor there, and my mom was a school teacher. And I ended up going to a high school here in Saginaw. I started being interested in playing guitar. I didn't really love it in the beginning. It didn't really feel like my thing, but I ended up started being very interested in how it worked. There's a bunch of pieces that go together. What are these pickups? What do they do? How do they work? And so when I was in high school, I put together a kit guitar. That was junior year of high school, and so you're starting to think about, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And so I went online and I found this guitar making school in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a completely new experience in all sorts of ways. I went from small Midwestern town to Phoenix, Arizona, middle of the desert, run by a bunch of ex-hippies, and all sorts of different types of people. And they're teaching us how to make these instruments. And the instructors there were perfect. They were very aware that they were giving us a very basic groundwork so that we could go out and work. And I was like eating that up. In the beginning, I spent 2 years in a little basement room with no windows, no heat. It was just me. It was me failing, trying to figure out how to do this metal guitar thing on my own. And I always wanted it to be bigger than me. I didn't want it to be my show. I wanted to work with other people and have a team. I wanted to make instruments for people who really understood that they were being part of a bigger relationship. When I started making guitars, I was incredibly fascinated with the making part of it. How to make a perfect miter on a binding joint, or weighing brace stock and how that influenced an instrument. And all of those things are important parts of making an instrument. It really is. And I think it's our job as professional makers to learn that stuff and to execute it. We also have to be aware of the priorities, right? What is the purpose of this music tool? The purpose of this music tool is that someone picks it up and they play it and they hear a sound that they've never heard before, and that makes them make different musical choices. If I picked up guitar A and I played a G chord, I might hear something in it and that makes me choose a different chord or a different melody note, right? The way that the low end sings, maybe I go up instead of down. Well, if you pick up one of our instruments, maybe you go down instead of up, That's building inspiration into a guitar. That's building a tool that's going to affect someone's musical choices, there was that perspective change. Oh, this is about some kid from a small town in Michigan ending up in the Shenandoah Valley making these beautiful instruments with these beautiful people. It's something that not everybody gets to do, and I get to do it, and I'm really thankful for that. So this is where every guitar starts out. This is the sheets of steel. We've got pieces for every instrument starts here. So this is cut out on a giant laser machine. We've got relief cuts on the outside for flanging the tops and backs. That's how the tops and backs are joined. We've got the mule caster sets here. This is all 22 gauge stainless steel. We use stainless steel because it sounds really good. Mild steel and stainless steel actually sound different, and then we can put a patina on this, but it won't rust. So the guitar you get is the way that it'll stay. So the resonator guitars are soldered together. There's three main types of how to join metal. Soldering, brazing, and welding, and we use soldering because it's the lowest temperature form of joining metal. The metal has to be really thin so that it sounds good, but the trouble with that is if you add too much heat, then it'll warp. So we use soldering with these joints so that the steel doesn't warp. So after the body's made, it goes over here to the neck station. So this is where the necks are made and attached. And they all start out like this, like a block of wood. This is a particularly nice piece of wood. So we cut and join the headstock and the heel, use a stacked heel. And then it goes on the CNC machine and we get this. This is one of our neck blanks. These are slots for the truss rod and graphite rod reinforcements so that the neck stays where we want it to stay. So this is how a neck goes on a resonator guitar. This is the neck stick, very technical name. It's glued into the heel there, and this acts as like the backbone of the guitar. So this is what's going to end up taking the structural load off the body so that the body can just act as a sound producing mechanism. So it goes through here, and then with a couple different wedges and screws, that gets attached to the body. So this acts as just a shell so that the resonator cones are producing the sound that's reflecting off the back of the guitar, and that contributes to the tone of the instrument. So both these gentlemen are fretting and setting up and wiring the instruments. And if guitar making is 500 steps, these are 400 of the steps. It's all the really tiny detail work that you don't know is involved with making an instrument, but you can feel it. When you first pick up an instrument and start playing, how that board is leveled, how the frets feel, how the edge of the fingerboard feels. These are all the subconscious things that make a guitar feel comfortable, and now you can just play. Our job is to be as transparent as possible. So you're not thinking about the setup, you're not thinking about how it feels, it just feels comfortable, and now you're playing music. After the guitar is all strung up and checked out, then it goes in the cases and shipped off to their new homes. So this guitar is the first 12-string guitar that we've done, and it's going to a musician, Chris Turpin of Ida May, and he has a Mavis, but this is twice the Mavis. It's a 12-string Mavis, and it's a tool that he wanted, and it gave us a little extra push to figure out the things that needed to be figured out in order to make it happen. And having the team of guys that we have here allows us to be able to do that. You strung it up.
I strung it up in front of the camera. You played
impression.
in front of the camera.
The pressure. Oh, and this is standard tuning, so. Oh, it's OBD. Yeah.
You can edit it, right?
Look at Ken. Oh yeah.
I don't play. Jerome, get in here. You can play. I want to hear the Jerome licks.
Yeah.
Just the same licks over and over.
Hey, I got my 3. Yeah, these guys have.
There's so many little things that are involved with creating something new. You need all these brains in order to figure it out, and they crushed it. This is not something that I could do on my own. I pushed this off. This is an idea that's been on the radar, but having the group of people that we have here now, we can do stuff like that where a musician wants an inspirational tool and we can make it happen for them. So this is kind of the final moments. It's being strung up, it's being finished, and then we're gonna take it to Nashville and deliver it to Chris and witness that really exciting moment of a musician getting something that is gonna inspire new songs, inspire new albums, it's gonna take them new places, and it's really special sharing it with these guys. So we are on our way to Nashville to deliver the first 12-string Mavis guitar. So that's a really new instrument for us. We've never built anything like that, and it has a really distinctive sound. And we're getting it to a musician who is gonna take it to like some really amazing musical places. Chris and I, the customer, really developed a relationship through the build process, and that's what this is really about. Building things for people and connecting that way. And for me, being there in person and experiencing that moment of excitement and inspiration, and seeing the look on his face and seeing that moment when he hits that first chord and the excitement of the potential that could happen is really important. You can't get that online, you can't get that through email, so we're driving down there with the guitar and we're gonna hand it to him and experience that moment together. How are you, Ian? Finally! Yes, finally! How are you? In person. Okay, so earlier I thought that like I wasn't gonna be nervous and anxious. But I really am, like, surprisingly so. Now we're in the moment, and now it's like, you know, you put so much work and like thought into it, and it is such like a big thing. It's like you had this idea, and it was like, can we make it happen? Can we do it?
I didn't even know, yeah.
And then it's like here, so.
It's wild. I cannot believe it.
The river.
Oh my word. Oh my god.
How's that top in person?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the right sound. Guitars make music. Music is about people. And the guitar is that mechanism that connects people. I can make something that connects people that otherwise wouldn't be. And I see those things over and over again in what we do. Someone picks up one of these instruments and plays a song or writes a song inspired by what they hear that they wouldn't have otherwise. and then somebody hears it and it connects with them, and then they're singing along with it at a concert, you know. So when I started Mule, that was really part of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make instruments for people who got that part, you know, that I'm gonna get this instrument and connect with people in really substantial ways.